Lieutenant, United States Navy, arriving. Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, arriving. Commander, United States Navy, arriving. Color Guard, post the colors.
Marks on. Mark. Two wheel. Mark. Detail. Pull.
Chaplain Daniels will now offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day you have given us and for this occasion that brings us together as we honor Lieutenant Robert Haseloff, who is retiring. I thank you for his years of service and faithful and honorable service to this nation, his family, and also this military, which brings freedom and peace to many people around the world while preserving our own. Thank you for the impact that he has undoubtedly had on countless other service members, as he has modeled, mentored, and trained character, competence, and commitment both in and out of uniform. I pray that all of us gathered here today will be inspired by his career and achievements to seek and to excel in our remaining time in uniform, to be examples of integrity and excellence, to also finish the course well, as this naval officer has done. Finally, Lord, I pray that you will bless this time today with your presence, and that you will be honored as we are honored today to honor our shipmate, Lieutenant Haseloff. In your precious and holy name, I pray. Amen.
Will the guests please be seated? Side boys, post. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome all of you to this special occasion marking the retirement of Lieutenant Robert Haseloff, Jr., or as most of us know him as JR. We're gathered this afternoon to witness the final stage in a very successful and somewhat productive 20-year military career. Before we begin, Lieutenant Haseloff has asked that we all take a moment of silence to honor all of the military personnel who have made the ultimate sacrifice and will never be able to have their own ceremony. We are also gathered to say thanks to a great shipmate and a sailor. Thanks for his many contributions, which in their own unique way have made our Navy a stronger and more capable force in our never-ending fight for peace in this sometimes troubled world. Thanks for his dedication and personal initiative that have helped make this United States Navy the proud professional organization it is today. And thanks for being the type of leader, mentor, and friend that has ensured the next generation of sailors are ready to meet the yet unknown challenges of tomorrow. Just as this is the end of one phase of his life, it is the beginning of another. So our gathering today also gives us the opportunity to wish him every success in the future as he looks forward to the new challenges and rewards. I'd like to extend an especially warm welcome to Lieutenant Haseloff's wife, Lieutenant Commander Andrea Haseloff, who coincidentally just signed her 214 today. As I know that you, more than any one of us, are vividly aware of the sacrifices that JR has made in the service of our country, and I speak for the entire audience here today when I say how pleased we are to have you here today. Before I introduce our guest speaker, I just wanted, off script, sorry, JR. JR kind of has dressed me over the years. You know, we've traveled a lot together, and just a couple things I have today. One, I'm wearing cufflinks he gave me many years ago that have the logo from the 1908 Chicago Cubs. For those of you who don't know, before 2016, that was the last time the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, so that was a daily painful reminder. Thank you. Also, I'm wearing, you might have noticed, and what I'm told is an authentic Chicago Bears 1985 Super Bowl ring. I'm sure you spent tens of dollars on this thing. And it says Peyton on it. I hope he's not missing it. And one last thing, this is actually to another contribution that JR has given to the Navy circa 2011, I believe it was. We came up with the dinner dress vans. So, a terrific addition. The CNO and the MECPON still haven't returned our calls for submission, but we'll pass that on to the next generation of sailors to carry forward. So thank you again for dressing me over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the guest speaker. Actually, I think that makes us married in some cultures, all that. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the guest speaker for today's ceremony, who literally traveled from the other side of the planet, Lieutenant Commander Eric Hernandez.
Thank you, Will. So I've been here for less than 24 hours. I just flew in from Bahrain, so if I slur, I'm not hungover or drunk, I'm just a little jet lagged. So once again, good afternoon. I want to thank JR for allowing me to speak on this very great day for him. Today we celebrate the journey throughout his time in the United States Navy and all of he has sacrificed for our freedom. Of course, JR would not be here without the guidance and support of a few key people. I want to personally thank Cindy and Ron Van Dyke, Robert and Linda Haseloff, and of course Andrea, Henry and Elizabeth reading. There you are. Hey, Elizabeth. JR, I hope you're ready for a guy's night out. And whether you want to come or not, this rotisserie chicken is on the rack and rolling. I've got a great night planned. You know what's coming. We're going to get some steak at Ponderosa and then take a helicopter ride over the city. But don't worry. If it gets too windy, I've got a plan B. A buddy of mine can get us into a corporate event. Apparently, Beyonce and Jay-Z are playing a set. Is that plan A? You're right, that's right. So with that being said, I will keep this short as I promised JR. Now JR and I might have a different recollection of how we met, but I'll tell you my side. It was a cool afternoon on the 12th of October of 2003. I checked in early, as is my normal standard, to Officer Training Command, Newport, Rhode Island. I was assigned my two-man room within Foxtrot Company Hall and had unpacked and settled in for the night for this unknown journey. I was pretty tired. I just finished driving 1,800 miles from the great state of Houston, or great state of Texas. I made a long journey and drive to meet who, I guess it was my roommate, JR. So I decided to take a short nap after I unpacked. I only say short nap because no sooner than I started getting into the good part of my dream, the door swung open and this blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid from the beaches of Jacksonville, Florida was standing there. He did not bother to say hello. Instead, he gave the room a once-over with his eyes and then proceeded to say, his words, not mine, "Oh, hell no." It was at that moment I knew I was in trouble. JR and I had some pretty good times getting to know each other in that 12 by 16 foot cell. The adventures were numerous and unforgettable. We created a recipe only known as the concoction. The morning effects will remain a secret. However, this concoction helped us get the necessary sleep to get up early in the morning and hear the unforgettable cadence of one Senior Chief Rosado. Remember those? One time, we even got pulled over for speeding on base right before Liberty expiration, and our friend Blake almost got shot. Lesson learned, people. Do not get out of a car and try and make a run for it just to make Liberty when you have police surrounding your car. Remember that? That's crazy, man. We even met a local man named Mickey who invited us in to sit at a table for a dinner that he was invited to. JR even enjoyed that meal. Really, you guys? But the best thing about these adventures is I knew they would not end in Rhode Island, as we found out we'd be stationed together for our follow-on orders to the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps, Houston, Texas. There our adventures continued, as did our Navy careers. In all seriousness, JR is not one to wait on destiny to happen. Destiny is no matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be achieved. Throughout his naval career, officers and chiefs have repeatedly recognized his devotion and unwavering let me start over on that one, JR. I almost teared up when I was saying it. I told you, man, I'm jet lagged. So, throughout his naval career, officers and chiefs have repeatedly recognized his unwavering devotion to the Navy by excelling in all undertakings, whether assigned or sought. JR refused to rest on his laurels and his desire to serve our country. There are differences between dreams and goals. Dreams come to us as unbounded possibilities and are the seeds of epic potential. Goals are dreams put into action. Goals are about the final destination, but much more about the journey. They require work and demand rolling up your sleeves. I'm not embarrassed to say that JR is a more motivated officer and individual than I am. I have seen his work ethic, and he could run circles around many of my fellow officers. The Navy is losing a valuable asset, but his family will love having him around more often, and the civilian sector will benefit from his vast leadership and managerial abilities. JR, the downside to retirement is having to drink scotch on your own time. And when Reggie rings that doorbell, don't even answer it. Just give me a call, and I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commander Hernandez. Commander Andy Clark, Officer in Charge, Naval Information Force Reserve, Region South, will now provide his remarks and present Lieutenant Haseloff's retirement awards. Guests, please remain seated.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of the entire Naval Information Force Reserve, Region South staff, I would like to begin by thanking all of you for joining us today to recognize JR's service. Shipmates, friends, but most of all, JR's family. Your support while JR stood the watch, and count how many times I say the watch, is crucial to his success and to our success. Now, I will say right up front, get it out of the way, in Intel we like to say faster and funnier. Well, I have 4 pages, and my first ship was with the amphibs and marine aviation, so I have the humor of a surface warfare officer. Which is not. Exactly. As background, JR's first year in this assignment, he was officer in charge, Joint Reserve Intelligence Center, Fort Worth. A year later, due to a reorganization, our staff merged, and JR became the assistant officer in charge, Naval Information Force Reserve, Region South, so my deputy. Since we're all friends, I am going to share that the good lieutenant actually advocated for our new region to be named Region Texas. But Denver has feelings too. However, in all seriousness, the title Assistant Officer in Charge does not do justice to JR's role since December of 2017. For those not familiar with reserve information warfare, there's a number of reserve information warfare regions around the country, 6 in fact, including one in DC, and it's special. There are thus 6 assistant officers in charge, but none have had the breadth and depth of responsibility that JR has had. He has been leading change in complex teams from day one. With each change, he has gotten his team to bring it successfully to fruition. His work ethic that we've discussed, his drive, his patriotism, he has made the region a better place. Our staff here knows all the details, but let's just say our reserve staff lives all over the country. I live in Washington State, and the full-time active staff is here in Fort Worth. But for the first 6 months, it was half and half. An organization divided across the country, JR allowed that to happen. The only reason I have not been traveling every month for the past 2 years is because JR had the watch. JR had the team. JR led us to success. So I mentioned the watch. As a naval intelligence officer like JR, I'm comfortable with the concept of standing a watch. How you never know what you are going to encounter when you assume the watch, when your shift begins. Much like the average drill weekend, you never know what's going to present itself on Friday or Saturday morning. But you strive to leave your post better for your relief than you found it. Your goal is to move the ball down the field for your shipmates to pick up where you left off. I invite everyone to take a good look at JR's shadow box today, as it highlights the breadth and depth of his operational assignments, rising through the ranks by making each command and assignment better than he found it. However, we can't forget the Navy is not about ships. It's about sailors, and JR is the epitome of that statement. At Special Operations Command, our mantra was, humans are more important than hardware, where experience and maturity, coupled with dedication to the team, brings greater success than the simple application of massive force and firepower, not that that doesn't have its place. It is one thing to excel in your field. However, I challenge that there is incredible value in those key individuals who demonstrate the foresight and drive to make your profession and your community stronger, to train and mentor those who will one day carry on in your stead. Many of us first met JR back in his instructor days. I think it was still called FITSE back then. Back where he prepared our intelligent sailors for the most challenging sea duty positions. And that has always been the hallmark of our community, is the superior performance at sea. And he was at the hub making sure that everyone that left the West Coast waterfront was ready to fight. Once again, the Special Operations Commanding General, General Votel, used to say that it was one of the senior officer, senior enlisted core jobs to spot, assess, and recruit talent. And unlike any other assistant officer in charge, or any other officer in charge, JR took that to heart. I've lost count of how many of our new information warfare ensigns in the Naval Reserve are due to his above and beyond efforts evaluating talent and making each direct commissioning officer selection board bring on only the very best our nation has to offer. Military recruiters, readily find candidates who meet requirements, criteria on paper, GPA, a great resume, certifications. But skilled team builders like JR ensure that the very best, the needles in the haystack aren't lost. And in any large organization, you need these change leaders. You need the ones that can support the mission, can spot the talent, and help them be successful. Character and drive, not your resume alone, are keys to our success in our field, and JR has led the example his entire career. When you're in charge of a watch, you have to be confident that your team is ready to face any unexpected challenge, because you will never know all the challenges out there. So you have to be confident that they are ready to think on their feet with the unanticipated, the black swans, the unknown unknowns, if you will. If you watch the international news in the past few weeks, you can see some of the challenges that our sailors are facing in harm's way every day. JR was there training folks to be ready. He trained his relief. He trained the waterfront, so we are ready. And as Americans, we can be confident tonight that the Navy, we've got it. You have left a team behind. Intelligence is a challenging business. It's not for everyone. Just because you wear a rank does not mean you are ready for the most stressful situations. where your quick judgment based on incomplete information, as it will always be incomplete, your mistakes can have dire consequences. JR took the lead to make sure that our folks were ready. Without question, I have always had confidence that JR and the team under his leadership had the watch. Great example, when a hurricane was projected to hit Naval Air Station Jacksonville, NAS Jax, back when you were Region South, my counterpart, Commander Castleberry, boarded up Region Southeast headquarters and prepared for the worst. Staff evacuated. JR stepped in and seamlessly took command and control of the region without missing a beat. On that note, in recognition of JR's taking charge as my deputy, and I'm stealing this tradition from my former bosses, I would like to present a small token of appreciation and recognition for your leadership role in the region as my deputy. It is through your personal efforts that I have had a successful tour, and I cannot impress upon you enough. My family can't thank you enough, because I'm not here. You have been here, and you have allowed me to sleep at night when my 4-year-old twins aren't having trouble sleeping. So, JR, we appreciate you for your leadership, insight, and friendship as the last officer in charge here at Fort Worth, Texas, and the very first assistant officer in charge, Naval Information Force with your Region South. Very many problems. I guarantee you can't see it in back, but the crest on there is not the NIFA Region South crest. It is the reverse of our coin, where Texas is prominently displayed. It's for you, shipmate. Along those lines, I very much appreciate how JR knew our staff here in Fort Worth and all our reserve sailors drilling here. And he personally made sure that they were put first and foremost. Under his leadership, JRIC Fort Worth's mission has been service to our reserve sailors, which enables their support to the nation. And while we can't pretty much discuss anything that they do here on the weekend, including this weekend down the road, the intelligence community and our combatant commanders, the commands that fight our nation's wars and prevent our nation's wars, they routinely tell us what great work happens because of what the JRIC is able to provide, and by extension, the region from our manning, training, and equipping side. The JRIC team makes the world a safer place. So, not surprisingly, indicative of the culture of service to sailors and the mission, the Defense Intelligence Agency this week announced JRIC Fort Worth as the 2018 Joint Reserve Intelligence Center of the Year. And I just want to take a moment for us all to recognize the accomplishment of the team. On behalf of the team, thank you for your leadership. I just want to say thank you to the entire team, as this is indicative of all you have accomplished, the efforts you have put in, the responsiveness to our reserve sailors. Because at the end of the day, that is what we're here to do. We are to support their mission, their readiness, and their success in battle. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yep.
Finally, before the MC keys the music to pipe me off the stage, on behalf of our entire NIFR Region South staff, we want to thank you for your leadership, your friendship, your insight, your work ethic. You were instrumental in taking Region South from an idea on paper, a handful of PowerPoint slides, even a few Excel pivot tables, to fully operational capable, ahead of schedule. And I'll tell you how many military programs can say that. You will be missed, but you have left a well-trained, well-mentored, and well-prepared team to carry on the watch. Naval Information Force Reserve, Region South. Thank you from the full-time and selected reserve staff and the officers and sailors who make up the Naval Information Force Reserve Region South for your dedicated and selfless service to 1,400 reserve officers and sailors across 120 units in 7 states. For your tireless effort in support of active reserve elements assigned to Joint Reserve Intelligence Center Fort Worth. For your steadfast support to mobilize reserve members of the information warfare community, conducting critical operations around the globe and in every domain. For your true and unwavering concern for the welfare of the full-time staff under your charge. Presented by the officers and sailors who serve so faithfully wish you fair winds and follow seas. So JR, to conclude, you have served our nation in the most challenging assignments, often in harm's way. Your family has made sacrifices along the way, and today we honor your sacrifices and wish you all the best in your future. Bravo Zulu, as you and Andrea enter your civilian careers, know we are forever grateful for your family's service. Shipmate, we have the watch.
Lieutenant Haseloff, front and center. Attention award. The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Robert H. Haseloff, Jr., United States Navy, for service set forth in the following citation. For outstanding meritorious service while serving as Assistant Officer in Charge, Naval Information Force Reserve, Region South, and Officer in Charge, Joint Reserve Intelligence Center, Fort Worth, from May 2016 to 2019. Lieutenant Haseloff consistently demonstrated the highest levels of leadership, development, and professional expertise for 2 JRICs and 19 Information Warfare Center units, consisting of 1,200 reserve and 16 full-time support sailors across 7 states in the newly formed Naval Information Force Reserve, Region South. He flawlessly managed a 13,300 square foot sensitive compartmented information facility, setting the standard for other JRICs as his leadership drove a 30% increase of selected reserve personnel supporting missions at JRIC Fort Worth as the 2018 Defense Intelligence Agency's JRIC of the Year. Additionally, Lieutenant Haseloff seamlessly led the execution of accountability and continuity of operations for NIFR Region Southeast as hurricanes directly impacted their facilities with no loss of mission support. His superior performance of duties highlights the culmination of 20 years of honorable and dedicated service. Lieutenant Haseloff's exceptional professionalism, personal initiative, and loyal devotion to duty reflected great credit upon himself, and we're keeping it with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. For the President, J.F. Price, Rear Admiral, United States Navy. Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Lieutenant Robert Haseloff, Jr., I extend to you my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Donald Trump, Commander-in-Chief. Lieutenant Haseloff also received certificates of appreciation from Presidents Obama, George W. Bush, and Clinton, every president under which he served. Lieutenant Commander Kenny Caswell, incoming Region South Assistant Officer in Charge, will now present Lieutenant Haseloff's retirement shadow box on behalf of Naval Information Force Reserve, Region South. It's taking a long way. He wasn't at rehearsal. A fine sword, a brace of pistols, a rifle or musket, or maybe a sea chest of fine wood and bound in brass was presented to remind the retiree of cruising ships he had served with. Lieutenant Haseloff, your retirement shadow box depicts your career achievements in the United States Navy. It includes your many personal awards and uniform devices indicating the ranks you progressed through as you worked your way up the advancement ladder. The Mustang represents your journey from a deck plate sailor to a commissioned officer. The Navy Mustang literally refers to the Mustang horse, which is a wild animal and therefore not a thoroughbred. A Mustang, after being captured, can be tamed and saddle broken, but it will always have a little bit of a wild streak. By the same token, a Mustang was formerly a wild and free animal. The Mustang may very well be more intelligent, more capable, and have better survival instincts than thoroughbreds. The Mustangs can take care of itself when things get tough. Sorry, Academy guys. The bottom portion of the shadow box displays the national flag flown above the Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium on the 12th day of May 2019 to commemorate the return of tight end Jason Witten. I mean your lifelong support of America's team. It is symbolic of the nation you have so faithfully served with during your 20 years of active duty. Commander Clark will now present Lieutenant Haseloff's family with letters of appreciation. Lieutenant Haseloff, will you escort Andrea, Henry, and Elizabeth to the stage? Guests may be seated. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy to all who shall see these presents, greetings. Andrea Haseloff, Henry Haseloff, and Elizabeth Haseloff. Today, after completing 20 years of active naval service, your husband and father has ended a career of honorable and faithful service to his country, and his efforts are sincerely appreciated. Such a rich and rewarding career reflects a strong commitment to the principles of freedom and democracy, and the belief that they must be upheld at any cost. That type of total commitment is not possible without the full support of the entire family. Although you may never had to carry out a military order deploying into hostile waters, your loyalty and steadfast support of your husband and father's career can rightly be viewed as service to your country. That loyalty and dedication were significant courses of strength during his arduous duty and exemplified the highest traditions of patriotism. The United States Navy thanks you, and I thank you. Given the 17th day of May, 2019, A.J. Clark, Commander, United States Navy. Your cover? Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Of course. I will now read Old Glory, and our national ensign will be presented to Lieutenant Haseloff. This flag was flown over the USS Gettysburg on 18 April 2019 to commemorate the first ship Lieutenant Haseloff sailed aboard in 1999. Flag detail, attention.
Flight detail. Halt. Up, out. Face.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I'm flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher. My colors are a little truer. I bow to no one. I'm recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved. I am feared. For more than 200 years, I have fought in every battle of every war. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the jungles of Guam, Okinawa, Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, in the heat of the Persian Gulf, and a score of other places long forgotten by all, but those who were there with me. I was there. I led my sailors. I followed them. I watch over them. They love me. I was on a small hill on Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-torn, and tired. But my sailors and Marines cheered me. I was proud. I was at Ground Zero in New York City on September 11th as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of once proud buildings by brave firefighters. Heroes who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America, although bloodied, will never be beaten. Those who would destroy me cannot win, for I am a symbol of freedom, of one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I've been soiled, burned, torn and trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped to set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I've been soiled, burned, torn and trampled on the streets of my own country. And when it is done by those whom with I have served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the surly bounds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I have stand watch over the new frontiers of space. I've been a silent witness to all of America's finest hours. But my finest hour comes when I'm torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly half-mast to honor my sailors and Marines. And when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son and daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave Long may I wave. Lieutenant Haseloff will now present the flag to his mother to honor all of the mothers and fathers that have before and continue to send their sons and daughters into harm's way for their country. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present Lieutenant Robert Haseloff, Jr., United States Navy.
Wow. So before we begin, is anybody hiring? No, for real. First off, thank you so much for everybody coming out. Having so many people who traveled so far on their own dime to be here. I just want you to know that is absolutely, that's not lost on me. Commander Clark, sir, thank you for presiding. We appreciate you being here. Eric, appreciate you not starting war over in the Middle East until next week. Thank you, appreciate that. Will Whiteman and the entire Whiteman clan are here from Canada. Thank you much, we appreciate you. And all the way, my friends from California as well. So, I joked kind of over the last 5 or 6 months as I kind of knew the retirement was coming up, you know, what the title of my retirement speech would be. And there were some pretty good ones. One of my personal favorites was 20 years of proof on why I'm probably unelectable. But I think we destroyed most of those tapes, so that's good. On really bad days or days where you're just really shaking your head, I think the title of it was, yeah, it's definitely time to get out of the Navy. It's a good time to get out of the Navy. And possibly the front runner came from Region South Reserve Senior Enlisted Leader, Master Chief McMillan. And I don't remember the background to it, but we had an event lined up. We executed the event. It did not go perfectly. And he noted, no, you did everything right. The reservists just messed that one up. So I'll tell you later what I ultimately titled this speech. But as an intel officer, I've done a lot of research on how to do a retirement speech. I've done a lot of analysis. And what I found is that I am contractually obligated to start this speech with, wow, where did the last 20 years go? I vividly remember getting off that bus in Great Lakes, headed to boot camp like it was yesterday. And I am going to start this speech with that story. Before I do that, I would just like to, I'd be remiss to tell that story if I didn't bring up an important person who wasn't here today. Who here knows Dale Bishop, or Chief Petty Officer Dale Bishop? Right? Most of my family, friends. He's been a childhood friend for a very long time. Dale and I actually joined the Navy together under the Navy's buddy program. And when I told him about the retirement, he said he wouldn't miss it for the world. And on Monday, Dale shipped out to Djibouti for 12 months. So as it would turn out, he wouldn't have missed it, but his devotion to the Navy and this country. And that's really the theme of this speech is, for the past 20 years, I've been surrounded by remarkable friends, sailors, warriors, who have done far more for this nation than I have in the past 20 years. So back to the boot camp story. I remember it was Saturday morning. It was 3 a.m. We had layovers. We flew into Chicago. By the time we got on the bus and we were about to go to boot camp, it was like 3:34 in the morning. I remember looking over to Dale and saying, you know, it's so late on Saturday morning. Maybe they'll just not start boot camp until Monday. Yeah, so that did not happen. We got off the bus. People started yelling at us, and they didn't stop yelling for, was it 12 to 14 weeks or something? For all the retirees in the group, back me up here. So when you know that you're going to retire, you get this floodgate of all these great stories that you want to tell, and you know what's appropriate to say on this stage and not shame my family. So you had all these these great stories, and I don't want to talk about the stories because what I learned is it's really all about who I was with. It's all about the people who had an effect on me during my career. Now, if we have a scotch in our hand later, some of the great stories that we could talk about is all those late night bridge watches on the ship and seeing how much food we can eat. And then you really find out about yourself. You know, your body goes through real changes when you're on your 33rd or 34th orange, or 19th or 20th ice cream sandwich. Just boredom on the bridge watches was awesome. You know, in Greece, me and a couple friends actually swam the channel where the ancient, the Colossus of Rhodes, the ancient wonder of the world, used to stand. Actually, in the pamphlet, you'll see a picture of me throwing toilet paper off the bridge wing of a ship with my executive officer sleeping in his wing chair. Just young, dumb, seeing what you can get recorded. Now we live in an age where you wish none of that was recorded. I actually sank a boat once. Didn't go to jail, so that was good. When I joined the Navy, I was actually deployed during 9/11. Lost a real good friend in the Pentagon. I almost collided with a Portuguese destroyer while I was driving the ship as a master helmsman. That's a pretty good story. Taking my staff as skydiving off the north coast of Hawaii was pretty awesome. Earning platinum status as a Navy traveling instructor, and the shenanigans which came from that. I attempted and failed to take 14 Japanese officers through an amphibious warfare exercise. As it would turn out, not just the culture differences, but some of my choice naval expressions, they translated quite poorly. So you got all these great stories, and it turns out, like I said, the only thing that really matters are the people that you were surrounded by. My first ship, I was on the USS Gettysburg. I was a deck seaman alongside of a really good friend of mine, Ray Florence. Found out we were both from Texas. We hit it off right away. This was in '99, so a video camera it's really hard to come by. Was it your video camera, Rafe? So we had a video camera, and we took it, unfortunately, everywhere with us. We had a lot of fun. It was the old High 8 video cassettes. Where'd all those cassettes go, Rafe? So Rafe told me a couple weeks ago, you know, it was a weird time, and all of us, we were young and dumb, and he actually destroyed all those tapes. I made copies. So we had a lot of fun with these tapes, and if they are leaked, none of us would be politically electable. So, hey Rafe, remember that time I almost went to a Turkish prison? That was a good time. That's actually on the tape, and it involved doing a cannonball off of a 2-story bridge into hot springs full of old people with a monkey mask on. So we'll do a full review of these tapes on August 2nd when I'm officially out of the Navy. Brother, I love you. Really glad that you and Katie are part of my family here, and it means a lot that you came today. Thank you, brother. So from the Gettysburg, I was selected into a program called Seaman to Admiral. And for those of you who know, Seaman to Admiral is a very, very competitive program where they take the cream of the crop enlisted and they turn them into officers. And I'm sorry. Wait, that's what they do now. Back when we got picked up, I think they were really throwing darts and pulling names out of the hat. Yeah, I think at that point we had to put a photo in, and they just kind of felt bad for you, maybe. So everything that my guest speaker just came up here and said is a lie. Let me just go ahead and start that. When I met Eric, we were going through that Seaman to Admiral program, and it's actually here in my speech. I met him at 0400 in the morning on a Sunday. I was dead asleep. He comes running in, hitting on the lights, and he said, "Oh, hell no, this is not going to work for my delicate sensibilities." I said, "Dude, just turn off the lights." I get to speak last, so I guess my story stands up. And so not all the jokes are going to be for everyone, so all of the inside jokes that were in his speech, we can explain those to you over dinner as well. And actually even have here, hey, remember what we did in Rhode Island? Remember Blake almost getting shot by the... Eric and I spent 3 great years in Houston. We had a lot of fun. I won't bring up any of those stories here either. But, man, I should probably get around to finish writing in that book, right? Yeah. Get some scotch and a cigar in our hand, and we'll walk you through all these. Or a $9 bottle of margarita from Costco would be great. Brother, thanks for making the trip. I know it means a lot to Andrea and I that you are in our lives. He's a great mentor. Anything that having to do with scotch or cigars or barbecuing, or now the sous vide, I guess is where we're headed from here. There we go. So, thank you. I appreciate you, man. We're looking forward to getting him back to Texas, and we're going to start our own Angus cattle business down in South Houston. Okay, so from Houston, I went to become an intel officer, where I met a lot of great officers, and also Nick Bleeker. So Nick Bleeker couldn't make it today, and I told him I was going to give him a lot of shit for, sorry chaps, give him a lot of stuff for not being here. Everyone thought Nick Bleeker and I were just two peas in a pod, which didn't make sense because I'm pretty reserved and low-key, and I don't talk a lot, and he's Nick Bleeker. But everybody thought, we were just two peas in a pod, including our detailer, and they detailed us to the USS Abraham Lincoln together. We had a great time on the stinking Lincoln. Nick is truly a good person, and another person who's just answered the bell for what the Navy has asked of him. I met some woman there named Andrea. She was a dentist. Let's see, hold up. And actually, we had a pretty good social dynamic construct there on the Lincoln. It was the intel officers, the surface warfare officers, the dentists, and the medical personnel. So every time I went back up to Seattle to go hiking or camping with my friends, there was always this dentist there. But we'll come back to you. For Abraham Lincoln, I went to the Fleet Intelligence Training Center, where, back me up, chaps, the Lord shined his grace upon Will Whiteman, because that's where he met me. So Will Whiteman, outstanding mentor, outstanding sailor. He's actually done the really important things and actually contributed to the success of this Navy, unlike myself. If you want to know where he served, read his bio. If you want to see the medals he's won, look at his chest. If you want to know the kind of man, the kind of father he is, brother, none better. Don't get me wrong, I'm a much better intelligence officer than you.
It's your ceremony.
And I'm a better instructor. And I'm better looking. His family's amazing. I'm so glad they're here. Tara, we love you. So glad you're in our life. Piper, your daughter, my goddaughter, Kirik, thank you guys so much. Wouldn't be a ceremony without you. Thank you so much. Hey, Will, do you remember that time you did a... Let's skip that one. Here we go. Do you remember the time you did a keg stand off the back of a shock top Volkswagen Bug at the charity golf tournament?
On the golf.
That's right. Unelectable, ladies and gentlemen. So I missed San Diego, but I was off to do bigger and better things. The only thing better than San Diego is to get orders here in the great state of Texas. And as a nobody lieutenant, it's hard to find leadership positions. So the fact that the Navy sent me here, where I could lead people, and I was only 4 hours from family, all the stars really aligned for me to take this position. When I first arrived, my job was pretty straightforward. As they've mentioned, I ran an intelligence center here in Fort Worth. In 2018, Captain Scarcelli threw us a little bit of a curveball. Thank you, sir. And we stood up, this region south, which now encompasses 2 intelligence centers across 7 states and 1,200 reservists. Can you do me a favor? Anyone who's part of NIFR Region South, can you do me a favor and stand up real quick? Anybody who's a reservist or active staff? Hey, real quick round of applause, please. Oh, of course. Get the ambiance right. Hey, thank you. Thank you. And the reason you're clapping is not only that they're a great region, but they're the ones that had to put up with my learning curve, not only from working with reservists, which after 17 years was quite the challenge, but also standing up a region, which was also quite the challenge. So thank you, Region South. I appreciate you guys working with me. It's been awesome. It's been a great learning curve. Change management is quite interesting. Thank you. So I'm sitting here looking at a JRIC of the Year trophy. Al Davis, stand up. Petty Officer Johnson, stand up. I don't see Petty Officer Suarez. Is she back at the... All right. So just so everyone knows, we we won JRIC of the Year in 2018, and I just came from the JRIC this morning. There are 12 people on our staff. There are 12 in and out magnets. At one point last summer, Al Davis, my security officer, Petty Officer Johnson, my senior enlisted leader, and YN1 Suarez and myself were the only ones in the building. So we didn't even do it with a full staff. We did it with a staff of 4. Plus we had an OPSO who was more of a liability than an asset. And we were pretty happy that on days when he didn't come in. So awarding this to me is kind of funny to me because, gentlemen, this is us. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So we'll pass this on to Petty Officer Suarez, but if you three have anything that you ever need, I'd probably be insulted if you went anywhere else other than coming to me. Love to help you out. So now, the people who raised me. It takes a village. And it did take a village. So Mom and Ron, love you guys. Dad and Linda, stepdad Keith, even my uncle Merv and Janet, who I grew up with. Thank you all for molding me into something. I had a ... there. I don't know what I've become, but thank you for molding me into something. I appreciate your impact on my life, and I love you guys, and thank you so much for coming. To my sister who used to beat me with coat hangers, I love you and your family. Thank you for coming. I'm looking forward to when our families are closer together. I love you guys. Good job, Noah. To Chesley, where is she? Oh, okay. You're making me proud, girl. You're making me real proud. To the mom you become, to the sister you always were, and to the professional in which you're becoming, keep your foot on the pedal. You're going great places. I love you. In the case, go out there and kill it, man. Go out there and kill it and bring it home. Don't be satisfied with anything less than you deserve. You know what I'm saying? To my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, Greg, and Mary Ann, thank you for treating me like family from day one. Thank you for supporting Andrea and I as our family grew. We appreciate you. We love you so much, and we're glad you made the trip. Thank you for making me feel like I'm at home. I appreciate that. To Henry and Elizabeth, where's Elizabeth? Henry, right here. Cutest kids ever, annoying as all get out. Hey brother, look at me, Henry. I want you to be successful in your life. Everything we do is for you to be successful, okay? Also, I want you out of my house on time. All right. All right. Anybody else? This one? All right, Andrea. Baby, I've loved you since the first time you graced my top 3 on the 03 list. You make some good-looking babies. And as a mother, I have no idea how you are so patient, but I'm sure glad you are. Congrats on the job. We've officially got a dentist job down in San Antonio. Yeah. I am looking forward to the next chapter in our life, and I love you, baby. Okay. Can't forget the selfie. Okay, so in closing, what did I end up titling this speech? I decided to give it the title, I give my career a C+. We live in a world where everyone in uniform, gets thanks for their service, and those close to me know that that's not really sat right with me. Sure, I've sacrificed some, I've deployed some, I've been away from my family, I've worked long hours, but when compared to those who have gone before me, or even those that I share the stage with today, I give my career a C+. And C+ is good. I'm over it. I've reconciled it. It's a sound effort, solid effort. I tried real hard to make the Navy better, every command that I was with. But I really didn't do much in light of those who I'm surrounded by. And I didn't do much in light of those who have had an effect on me. For those who I've led, or those who I've been peers to, or those who have led me, I hope I've cared for you. I hope you feel cared about. I hope I inspired you to not settle with just being ordinary. I hope, especially my own staff, that I've beaten this into you that you should learn something new every day, or you should teach something new to somebody every day. I promise you there's more room in your life, there's more room in your head for more knowledge and more skills. And I hope I've beaten it into you to continue building your human capital, because the greatest shame that I've seen in my 20-year career in the Navy is a great sailor who's great at their job, and when it comes time to re-enlistment, they can either re-enlist and keep the dream alive, or what are we going to do on the outside? And so they stay in because they have no other option. Keep building your human capital. Finally, I hope I made you feel cared about, because with all the bad marks on my career's report card, I think I got a lot of bonuses for helping others. And that's twofold. Not just the effect that everyone who I'm surrounded by, not just the effect for those who are surrounding me have had on my career, but hopefully some effect that I've had on your life and your career. I truly value the camaraderie with my peers, and I will forget nothing in the Navy except for I was truly honored and humbled to lead you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Haseloff. Side boys, post. Will the guests please rise and remain standing through the end of the ceremony? Commander Clark will now present Lieutenant Haseloff's retirement certificate. Certificate of Retirement. From the Armed Forces of the United States of America to all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Lieutenant Robert Haseloff, Jr., having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Navy on the 17th day of May, 2019. Signed, Vice Admiral Robert Burke, United States Navy, Chief of Naval Personnel. Chaplain Daniels will now offer the benediction.
Let us pray. Lord God, we thank you for this opportunity to stand and witness the career and lifelong commitment that this sailor has made to not only this country, but to his family. I thank you, Lord, that in this time, may you add grace upon him. May you favor his life. May you continue to bring peace and honor and the courage to continue forward and do what you've called him to do. This we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Haseloff will now request permission to go ashore for the last time. Boat, stand by to pick the side. Shipmate going ashore. Navy family departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremony. On behalf of JR and his family, thank you very much for taking part in this time-honored tradition.